Hi, I'm Allison. This is Little Happy Studio, and I'm doing a follow-up video for my previous video called What is Warm versus Cool in Paint. In that video, I didn't have the time to break down what makes a blue warm or cool because there's a debate, actually. Blue is already a cool color to begin with, and it's really hard to say what is warm, what is cool. So I'm going to break it down for you. Typically, if we're talking about color theory, we're going to use a color wheel, but I'm even going to take it a step further. We're going to bring some science into this to get a clear picture. As you might recall, Sir Isaac Newton discovered the visible light spectrum. He put white light through a prism and saw all the colors of the rainbow. By bending the light, he started to realize that light was made up of all different colors that have different wavelengths. It starts with red, which is the slowest wavelength, down to violet, which is the fastest wavelength. For short, we just call the visible colors spectrum Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, and so on. Newton then decided to take the color spectrum and bend it, connecting violet and red together to create a color wheel to show the natural progression of color. So he wasn't really doing it for art reasons, but we artists use the color wheel because it's organized. So looking at this color wheel, if I were to ask you which direction makes a blue warmer versus cooler, which would you choose? Would you choose the blue leaning towards purple, or would you choose the blue that's leaning towards green? Most people will choose the blue leaning towards purple. And visually this makes sense because it's leaning towards red, and we assume if it's towards red it must be warm. But if we look at the visible color spectrum, it's just not that simple. Red and violet are opposites on the color spectrum, but they're neighbors on the color wheel. On the color wheel, if you're saying blue is leaning towards violet, it makes sense that it's getting warmer. But in natural light, if blue is leaning towards violet, it doesn't always mean that it's warmer. Nature is way more complicated than that. There is one element in nature that the color wheel is correct about, with blue leaning towards violet getting hotter, and that's with a blowtorch. A blowtorch starts out with an orange flame, and as you turn the heat up, it starts to turn blue. If we could turn up the heat and perceive violet with our eyes, it would probably turn purple after that. NASA uses these color temperatures to find out how hot an object is. The sun primarily gives out yellow light. If our sun were twice as hot, it would give off primarily blue light. We would have a blue sun. And I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be here if it were that hot. I think the color wheel is useful for organizing color and paints, but when I'm referring to colors in nature, I prefer looking at the visual color spectrum. Let's look at green blues and purple blues in nature. If green blues are supposed to be cooler than violet blue, then why is ultramarine blue, a violet blue, the color of the depths of the sea? Is that not cooler than the surface of the ocean, which is where all the reds and oranges and yellows are absorbed? Sometimes the ocean is just straight up green on the surface. That's gotta be warm. So what do you think? Which ones do you think are warm or cool? I took out all the blues I had and I put them in order from my most violet blue to my most green blue. And I put a gradient together to just see how the colors blend into each other. To me, I will always believe that violet blues are cooler than greenish blues, only because of the science behind it. I love going back to the way that light naturally behaves in nature and basing my paintings off of that. My goal is not to replicate reality exactly. I just want to be able to capture what stands out to me most. So this is a really cool tool for me to be able to capture my blues accurately. What do you think? Obviously, I'm not the final say in what warm or cool blues are, but I would like to know your opinion. Please tell me what you've learned and what you've experienced. Leave your comment below, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe because we're gonna keep doing talks like this and exploring color. As always, thank you for watching, and have a great day.